Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Today, February 21st, 2022, we are continuing our coverage of the ongoing crisis between Russia and Ukraine. And today, specifically, I want to talk about some things that I am seeing, and I want to talk about what I'm seeing and why I think either something is going to happen relatively soon or we may see quite possibly things start to settle down, or a pause button could possibly get hit. But again, I'm inclined to think, based on what I see, that the Russians are about ready to launch a fairly large military operation. I'll try to explain. So I've on my map, you will see obviously Core A, Core B, Core C, and I've discussed these allocations of Russian forces in prior episodes. But specifically, I want to look over here at Core B, kind of centered on a Belgrade to Kharkiv access of advance by what we believe is the first tank army. And we do know within the vicinity west and southwest and south of Belgrade, again, are units of both the 2nd Guards Motorized Rifle Division and the 4th Guards Tank Division. These units, both the 2nd Guards and the 4th Guards, again, are very heavy, mechanized centric units. They're normally based just outside of Moscow, outside of the Outer Ring Road, and they're generally in this location over here on my map. And obviously, these forces have been brought down a fairly significant distance from their traditional barracks, and they are now deployed within the vicinity southwest of Belgrade. But what we're seeing, more specifically, over the last 24, 48 hours, we're now starting to see these mechanized units, tank units consisting of BMP-2s, BMP-3s, BTR-82s, and obviously operating T-72, Bravo 3 tanks, and T-80U main battle tanks as well. And we're starting to see these forces in a road march formation. We're seeing them obviously coming out of some of their main staging areas where they had tents and motor pools set up, and they've been brought down to within just 12 miles from the Ukrainian border. And I can tell you, you can't stay in this sort of readiness level for very long. And specifically, especially with some of the Eastern Russian main battle tanks and armored vehicles. And I'll try to explain a little bit. So, obviously, Russian armored vehicles are quite a bit smaller than their American or Western counterparts. In let's say a M1A1 main battle tank. Again, they're a lot bigger. They're much more comfortable. So you can even stretch out inside of your main battle tank, and you can obviously do some things to make yourself more comfortable, especially in environments such as the environments the Russians are currently operating in right now. But just imagine right now they've moved out from motor pools. They don't have tents, so they're predominantly living on their armored fighting vehicle or their tank, and they're probably setting in some sort of road march formation in column, either off of the highway or pulled off in some cases, as we've seen, into a cover and concealment type of position where it's more difficult to be identified through reconnaissance efforts. But again, when you're in this kind of forward deployed formation, when you're in column and you don't have access to tents, you don't have access to field kitchens on a regular basis, it becomes very uncomfortable, and you can't stay in that type of readiness for an extended period of time. And again, those Russian tanks are very cramped. It's very difficult to stay out of the elements and and sleep. I mean, you have to sleep, and if you're in this sort of readiness stage for anything past 48 hours, and, and even longer, it starts to degrade the force. And in all probability, again, I think that they're going to have to do something pretty quick here, because you can't keep these forces so-called locked and cocked and ready to spring for an indefinite period of time. Either they're going to have to shit or get off the pot, basically, and they're going to have to either conduct their operation, or they're going to have to back off to an area where they can rest these troops up. They can get them to get good food into their bellies, and just basically do a reset. So they're either they're going to kick this off, or they're going to back off and reset. Especially for some of these units that we're seeing in these road march formations, or these road march statuses, where they're ready to go. And again, they can't stay in that type of readiness for an extended period of time. When you're in that type of road march, ready to cross your phase line, and then go into echelons or lines and engage enemy forces, then you can't do that forever. And so again, I do believe, based on that, we're probably going to see something happen here fairly shortly. Now, with that being said, that kind of goes against my initial thought process in how this conflict would initially start. And I had anticipated that we would see an air campaign prior to any sort of ground activity. And right now, what we're seeing, more or less, is it looks like the Russians are getting ready to jump right into the ground campaign, quite possibly in tandem to a air campaign. Or they're looking to do something different, and we really don't know what that is right now. But if they were getting ready to launch an extended air campaign, meaning a week, I don't think we would see some of the deployments that we're seeing and the way they're deployed right now. From the satellite footages from Maxar and some of these other satellite services, and then obviously from from the TikTok videos and other videos that are coming out of Russia. These guys are cock locked and ready to go in many of these areas. And again, uh, they can't stay like that forever. And what I mean forever is they're probably good for, boy, I would say 24, 48 hours in that position before they're going to have to do a reset, back off, and maybe redeploy to some other location. But that's just my opinion, and based on kind of my experience. Obviously, things change, and things are not always done the way they were many years ago. But ordinarily, when you see the Russians deployed as they are now, out of these staging areas, and now forward deployed in these road march formations, or backed up against terrain features, kind of hiding out, waiting for the final order to move out and attack. It seems like something is very close to happening. Or again, not sure what the Russian strategy is, but I would have thought that they would have been deploying some sort of air campaign. They still could do that, and but again, we just don't know what is in Putin's head. We don't know what is in the Russian general staff's final plan. We don't know what that looks like. But I think we're gonna get ready, and we're gonna find out here very soon, from what I'm seeing on the ground. But more to come. Just my thoughts, and again, we'll have more very soon. Have a good day, everybody.